Time management mastery, how to get half of your time back and your sanity with how you're managing your business, team, and life. Well, in this live, I'm going to focus on a weekly roundup, as well as the ability for you to ask us anything at any given time. So the weekly roundup, why does it matter? One, when you do it, you get a lot of time and energy back. When you don't do it, you're actually consistently doing a weekly roundup. A weekly roundup is a leak-proof checkpoint that checks every area of all the things that you're responsible for in your business, team, and life. Like if you're a busy, growing professional, if you're running a growing business, maybe you're a manager, you're a part of a team. A lot of this is how do you keep everything together? How do you actually check everything to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks? So when you do this, you save a ton of time and sanity. You get really current. It also helps you be totally free of the details, to have a lot more time off during the week and make sure that everything is actually running well without you. It also really supports you in having strong relationships because you don't need to micromanage each other. You start to get current on what people are up to. You know what's happening. And it's also like a step-by-step process. So you free up a ton of time. You know exactly what to do step by step. So you trust that nothing's fallen through the cracks. It creates a better relationship with you and all your colleagues, and actually lets you just be like free of the details. So a great time management system is actually a complete system. In my experience, when I see people going to try to do the latest tips and tricks, maybe you're trying to learn how to time block. Maybe you want the latest task management tool. Maybe you're figuring out how to go do this thing to manage like all of your inboxes. Maybe you're trying to get like into this playbook and develop SOPs on your own. If you do not have a complete system and a way to check up on everything, your mind will always be trying to wonder what the hell's going on. And as this live is happening, you can ask us anything in the comments. And if I got the answer, I'll do it. And if I have the answer later, I'll do a video on it as well. So how can we actually dive into a weekly roundup? So the reason why I want to tap into the weekly roundup today is that it is Friday, and it's a great day to do it. I normally do it in the mornings, either Friday or Sunday. So best practices when you're running a weekly roundup is this. One, do it first thing in the morning when you're fresh so that you have a clear mind and nothing else starts to interrupt the day. You need to be focused and actually be doing things. Number two, don't get caught up in the doing of things. You'll probably have, like when you're reviewing your inboxes, you might have 15 to 60 things that might just take 2 minutes, which think about that. You're doing 15 things that take 2 minutes. That's like 30 minutes. You might get caught up in the hours of doing, and that will derail you from actually finishing the weekly review and getting current, because the first goal is for you to actually be current. And you're not going to be able to get current if you start doing all these little one-offs. So your best practice one, do it Friday or Sunday morning. Don't get engaged into doing everything. It's just a review process. And, doing it when you're fresh, and also do it in an environment to where you're just locked out, like no employees, no employers, no kids. Like just get into your own environment, get your coffee so you can actually run through this, right? And once again, if you have any questions or comments while I'm doing this, or if you have your own pain point and you would love a video demonstration on something, drop your question in the comments, and I'm happy to do that at any given time. So the weekly roundup really looks like this in these key touch points. So I'm going to share my screen so you can actually get a visual on this. So what's great is when you have a leak-proof system, nothing falls through the cracks. Most of your overwhelm is from processing tons of information or managing too much in your head, or the stuff that's out of your head. It's not into a leak-proof system, so you're always wondering what the hell's going on, right? Like it's crazy. You're wondering what the hell is going on all the time. And when you get into a leak-proof system with all that you manage, you got to do from your scheduling, all your projects and your to-dos, which is a monster list and is growing and changing every single day, right? What about the repetitive nature of your business and life so that things don't break down? Everyone has recurring things they need to do every day, every week, twice a month, etc. if that starts to break down. So if you don't have a leak-proof system, That's a big source of your wasted time and overwhelm. And that's why a lot of companies and business owners go down, is because they start to get really stressed out and overwhelmed with all that they have to manage. And when you get it out of the head into a leak-proof system, you get a lot more time off. You know, things are running well without you. You get sanity. You and the team are all on the same page. You're clear with all your relationships, and you could do it within 2 weeks. So what really matters in a weekly roundup first is when you're going to get current, is making sure you're clear on all of your notes and all of your inboxes, right? You got to get current. You can't make decisions in your next 1 to 2 weeks if you aren't current and clear. And I like to start with actually your own notes and where you do things out of the head, because your notes are more important than other people's inflows to your inboxes. And an inbox, an email, a text message, a phone call, a note, a social media message, is nothing but a convenient, organized structure for other people's agenda for your life. I want you to remember that best practice. That's why things like checking emails and all these other inboxes that you have first thing in the morning ruins your progress and will stress you out and will derail you, because it's an other person's agenda for your life, right? So always start with your notes. Start with your notes, whether if it's paper, computer, and your phone, or any combination thereof. It's like, how are you going to get these into the tool set that you have? Like, what's actually happening? And then also getting through your email and then all of your inboxes. And this is important, where the principle of a leak-proof system, the first rule is you always got to be out of your head. I guarantee you, even if you're a complacent individual, which you're not, if you're growing a business, if you're a busy professional, if you're a manager and you're a part of a team, you know you got a shit ton more inboxes than you actually think you do, right? You have so many inboxes to manage. And how many things down each one of these inboxes are there requests for things for you to do? Is that overwhelming? Yeah, probably. But I just want you to get into the reality of how many times people are sending you messages down all the channels of things you need to do. And the tough news is that if you want to grow in business or life, those number of channels and the number of messages that you're going to be receiving down those channels, it's only going to get more. So if you got yourself into a leak-proof system now, it would cut your time in half and bring your sanity back to allow you to have more expansion. Because isn't it funny how most people saying, yeah, I want to grow, I want to have time for dating, I want to be able to grow my business, I want to be able to have more time off. But literally, you can't handle what you're already managing. You'll just break. So in order to get current, you first get clear with your notes and then all of your inboxes, so that you're aware of all the information that needs to happen. And once again, best practice, don't go really act on all the things that are happening. Like, just kind of go through and do it. Now, when you go to actually process those things into it, there's a mastery of that information. Because if you got, let's say, your notes and you got like 10 to 15 inboxes that you're managing as a person and as a business owner, there's a mastery of how to actually process that information into your tool set, which most of it's going to go into your task management tool. This is why I say that not if you're just managing in the head, but if you're only using a piece of paper that's there, you probably have 50 to 100 projects already going on. If you're a complacent human being, you probably have hundreds of tasks. They're ever changing, and it's super hard to manage it on this thing only. Paper matters. Paper's amazing. Use it all day long, but you get to have a centralized place and where it's going to go back to in a digital format that's super easy to get current and make clear may happen. And there is a mastery of processing that information into the tool set so it flows through you and into the system. This is where people get really overwhelmed when they don't have a leak-proof system. They don't know how to handle the millions of inboxes and notes going into it. Every time you're making a decision with something new, that burns your mental energy. And now people take 10 to 15 seconds to make a decision on something, or they're clogging it into their inbox or some other place. And no wonder they're so overwhelmed, because they're the bottleneck. That's right there. You could learn this principle and actually start executing on it. And within an hour, it'll probably save you 30 to 60 minutes a day. Like, imagine that, taking an hour to learn to save 30 minutes a day and kill the overwhelm. And that would free up like 200 hours per year, like that. So what you do is go through that. And then when you get into a leak-proof system, your next part, once you're current with all of your like information flows that's there, it's double checking your tool sets to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks there. You're reviewing your calendar. I normally review it 2 weeks out to see if there's anything that I'm not thinking of that I need to act on and switch, manage, reschedule, do, blah, 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 right? The next is your task management tool, which is so many people get stuck here. They get the Trello, they get the Asana, they get the Todoist, they get the latest Monday, they get the app. And then that turns into chaos. It's nice that they have a tool where everything's landing, right? That's everything there. If you have a task management tool, it's way better than having nothing in piece of paper. But what happens here is then people start to wonder how to keep track of everything. They start to using too many projects. They start creating like a project for everything. And next thing you know, the projects on their left-hand side are turning into like, instead of like just having 5 or 10 core ones, next thing you know, they got 10, 20, 30 projects of sub-projects, tasks, subtasks. They're trying to use dating systems over and over and priority systems over and over. When you start to do that, notice that your brain is trying to set up a categorization system that it can't track. It just can't track. But you need to know how to actually review your task management tool. What are the exact steps so that nothing falls through the cracks and you get current and reset it for the next 2 weeks? Like just nothing. In your business playbook, your life playbook, out of the hundreds to maybe even thousands of people that I've reviewed, especially in companies and businesses, teams that are overwhelmed, especially as a team, they don't have a business playbook. They kind of know what it is, but they don't. They've been trying to set up their own system. They've been trying to start to write out their own SOPs, but they don't actually have a playbook that really manages the repetitive actions and the documentation to keep it all together. Like, you want to be adaptable and scalable. You want to be able to have people on board, take over each other's things. You want to be able to delegate. It's all right there. It's all right there. And the worst thing that I see people do is they try to go develop that all on their own rather than something who actually has role model experience in doing it. And then once again, they go down this thing where they waste a lot of time and energy. Like people who are time poor and overwhelmed end up doing something, making a decision that's going to take them the most amount of time and the most amount of stress, which is trying to do something themselves, which they have no damn idea on how to do. Hire someone. Hire someone who has the results that you're looking for so you get it done in a fraction of the time and actually in a fraction of the cost. And they can lead it and hold everyone accountable and support doing it. Otherwise, you just lost all that time and energy. And the reality, you just spent a lot more time and a lot more money and a lot more stress trying to get things done. Notice your decision-making process if you're one of those owners or managers. And you're like, well, I'll try to do it myself. Like, no, like buy back your time. Buy back your time. Buy back your time. Collapse decades into days by getting someone who actually knows what's happening. And the last place, this isn't really a big one. We all have our Google Drives and Dropbox. You don't really need to review that, but these definitely need a review, and you need to know what to do in the exact prompts so that none of those fall through the cracks, so that you're current, you're now clear. And then once you handle this, you can go into your team meeting and you are so ready to go. You're so ready to go across every area of your business and life. I don't care in business if it's your marketing, your sales, your customer service, the operations, the cleaning, the organization, the inventory. Everyone is so clear on what to do, and they come in the team meeting with the clear KPIs, or in your relationships and home, right? You have a personal life that you care about your health, you care about your wealth, you care about your relationships with your friends, your lovers, your tribe, you care about probably giving back, like all that stuff, right? When you are able to check it all with your teams in your business and personal life and you get into a leak-proof system, bam, 2 weeks. You want to talk about freedom? This is how you can actually set up things to run well without you. This is how you can become 4 to 8 times as more valuable as an employee within 2 weeks. I've seen it happen all the time. This is how you can actually go from overwhelmed to actually the peace of mind that everything's being handled. If you are trying to manage most of the world in your head, or it's out of your head and you don't have a complete system that's there, you can easily have everything tracked. You can get half your time back. You can have total peace, trust, and the peace of mind, the trust and the confidence that everything's being handled. It's crazy. It's crazy. You can ask me anything in the comments to say, I would love to see this. This is my pain point. How do I do this? I'll do a video on it. Like, keep going with it. Drop a comment. This is my pain point. This sucks for me. How do I? Maybe my email's in disarray. How do I keep track of the 20 different inboxes? Why is our Slack effing crazy? How come we can't onboard the task management tool the right way? We don't even have one. Which should we pick? How do you even do a business playbook? Where do you start? Where's the template? How in the world, what do I need to do at the end of the day and once a week to keep this all together so that nothing falls through the cracks? You get that into play. My question to this is, why isn't this embedded into schools even before kids go to college? You think marketing and sales is more important than this? No, it's not. Want to know why? Because what if in 2 weeks I could show you how to free up half your time so you could focus on marketing sales? How much more marketing, sales, operations, things, time off, friends, and things that you'd have, time for your health, if you could learn how to free up half of your time and eliminate all the overwhelm and how you're tracking it all? You get a business operations and you get a actual operation efficiency expert for your life that's there. You have so much more structure in place. And when life handles you the shit, because it is coming, whether if it's the economy, someone's going to get hurt, things are going wrong, you can onboard everything you need to do in the signals. I want to help Sony here. Okay, so I see a good question. I've never been a good note taker, so hard to organize and keep up. Okay, Sonia, so let's actually play with this. So Sonia, I want you to first notice your belief system if you've never been a good note taker. So Sonia, let me ask this. When you are taking notes, you're doing it on your paper as well as your digital, right? Maybe you have a computer in your paper. So my question to you, Sonia, first is, with everything you got to manage with your scheduling, your to-dos, and your recurring business and all your ideas, what percentage are you managing in your head versus it being written out? Like, is it 50% or more, or is it much less? My assumption is, my gut is, you are managing most of the world in your head. Because if you're not a good note taker, yeah, Sonia. So Sonia, my love, can I help you with that? Like, actually, like I can actually help you, because follow me, drop me a DM. I will reply today on what's happening. So what Sonia said is, let's dive this down. So yeah, Sonia, follow me, drop me a DM. I will connect with you and I will give you my cell phone and I will show you how to handle getting out of your head, my dear. So what Sonia said is, I've never been a good note taker. It's so hard to organize and keep up. Sonia said it's so hard to organize and keep up. So let's dive actually into this. I'm going to remove this from the screen. So if you are in your head, you're dead. Your brain is meant to have ideas, not to hold them. Everyone here has at least hundreds of things that they need to do, and even hundreds of sub things. So when we try to use our conscious mind even to manage more than 5 to 10 things, we start to blow a fuse. So it's so hard to organize it in her head. And that's why she's saying she's never been a good note taker. So it's so hard to organize and keep up. It is impossible. Your head is the worst place to keep it all and organize. Now, what's probably happening with Sonia in the second place is she's starting to write things down on paper. She might have a calendar. She might try to be managed using her calendar to manage to-dos and recurring natures, where it's kind of like using a fork to have soup. But Sony doesn't trust where everything is. So now she's got notes everywhere. She's trying to maybe that she's got half in her head, and now she's trying to manage everything on the paper or in these digital apps over the place. So what's happening with Sonia is she hasn't learned to get into a leak-proof system, right? And then therefore you haven't learned what to do and how often in order to keep it together. And so when Sonia says the word organized means everything has a place and then everything in its place, right? It's like, imagine walking into your house, you're looking down in your house, you know where your closet goes, you know the clothes go in the closet, right? You know that the kitchen stuff goes in the kitchen, or maybe you're in a kitchen. You know the spoons go, you know where the spoons go, you know where the pots go. So what Sonia's having a problem doing is, one, she's mainly in her head and she doesn't trust it being out. And if she just learned how to get it out into the right organization places, hey, this is where my scheduling going. These are where my projects and tasks are going. This is where the recurring nature of my stuff is going. This is like my just pile of information that I need to reference. And she just doesn't trust it. So when people manage a lot in their head, they got out of their head and it's scattered all over the place. And they're like, well, okay, I'm now out of my head, but how do I even get into a leak-proof system? Because when you get out of the head into a simple tool set, with clear best practices and agreements, and you know what to do and how often to keep it together, boom, that's where it comes in. That's where it comes in. And no one's actually like taught you that. So Sonia, drop me a DM, my dear. And who else has questions here? And I'm doing my best to focus on the comments that are there, because I also want to make sure I'm delivering the point of the live. And this live was all about doing a weekly roundup. Why does it matter? Because it's the linchpin for your entire system. It brings the leak-proof system all together. And do it, your system lives. Don't do it, and it actually dies.